So in this, array as a data structure is one of the linear data structure where we will be storing the elements one sequentially of one data type. For example, if at all I am storing a variable a of integer type, then we will be storing all the elements of a which are of integer only. That means what? We will be storing the elements of one data type only in the sequential order. The advantage of array data structure is we will be allocating the memory location adjacently. Okay, one after the other, all the memory will be allocated to it. And if you know the concept of array, array uses the indexes or the key for its identification of the elements uniquely, and this is one of the more simplest form of the data structure where we will be designing the elements in the linear order. The arrays can be of various types. It can be one-dimensional array, two-dimensional or n-dimensional array. So basically we go with the one-dimensional array, and our stacks and queues are also following the one-dimensional array only. It is one of the well-known form of the data structure we will be using, and all the hash techniques or the other features of the data structures like stacks, queues, linked list, we will be applying the one-dimensional array only. So this is one of the example of a single dimensional or the one-dimensional array where we are having a variable as ARR. This is the name of the variable. Following, these are the indexes. Arrays will be represented with the index value with which you will be uniquely able to identify the value at what particular index. If at all, if at all you want to see what element is at index 2, so you can directly get to know element number 45 is locating at index 2. Likewise, if you want to find what is the element at index 5, you will be able to find that it is 7. 7 is the integer value that is available at your index number 5. And these are the memory locations, or we can say the address of the elements. So this will be allocated by the compiler itself inside the memory. You need not worry about it. We will be just storing the values, and the indexes memories will be already allocated to it by the memory. Now, let us look into the ADT, abstract data type of the data structure. So for this, first of all, you need to know what is abstract. Abstract data type is something, abstract is which is hidden from the user. Okay, all the internal features, how the data types are existing, how the data types are evaluating inside, it will be hidden from the outside users. So that process is being displayed to you here. The keyword abstract is used as where you can use the data types, and that will be performing various operations. How the data types and the operations are performed, you will be seeing here. Imagine that this is your application program and we are having an interface. Okay, interface will be helping the application program and the class ADT to interact with each other. There you can see we are having the function. There can be public functions or the private functions available, and to that, when we are designing the data structure, in the data structure linear form of the data, you are having the arrays concept, the linked list or the stacks and queues can be available. So inside the memory, all our data structures will be stored, and along with it, when we are trying to interact it with the application program, the functions will be fetching us the information from the memory, and it is getting back to the application program. So how I'm trying to show you is this part of the operation is totally hidden. The user will not be worried about how this process is taking place inside the memory and how it is getting or fetching the data to the user. Suppose, for example, you are designing the data of the students in the classroom and you wanted to know who has scored the highest marks in particular subject. So to fetch that data, you will be writing particular coding, you will be writing particular functions. Okay, and those functions will be interacting with the data. Our data here is in the form of array and linked list. From the data, your functions will be fetching the collecting the input, and it will be processing the data, and it is going to get back to the user at the application program. An interface, it is acting as a mediator between the abstract data type and the application program. So they will be helping us to interact and get the output, desired output to the user. So basically this part, this is called as a logical part, and it is hidden from the outside users. It is totally about the performance of the operations that they are carrying out. So in a short review, I can say it is one of the most important part of the data structure, where you will be getting to know how the operations or the structure is behaving in terms of implementation and representation of the data. A type defined by its behavior rather than implementation is called as your ADT. Abstract data type is purely dependent and defined by its behavior rather than implementation. Here implementation doesn't matter that much. How it is behaving, that is very, very important. Now, coming to how they are defined by the interface, it's because of the simplicity. As the ADTs are very simple in nature, they are very much internal, friendly to the clients. Clients will be able to interact with the internal data. Okay, from the outside users or the clients, it will be hidden. It is purely meant for the internal representation of the data. Okay, clients will not be going to have the detailing of it. Flexible nature, ADTs work based upon the behavior, so it is much more flexible, underlying the changes and the representation of it. It provides high security, as you got to know that the performance of the interface is purely bounding the boundaries of hidden data. So it is providing high security from the outside users or the clients. So basically we can say ADT is purely meant for knowing the functionality or the behavior of the program, we can say, or of the functionality. But we are least bothered about the implementation of it. Here we are purely dependent upon the behavior of the existing data structure. Now, let us look at few of the ADTs of stacks, queues, and lists. These are our purely linear data structure. First of all, let me explain you about the stack. Stack is a linear data structure which follows the order of storing the data in the form of LIFO, last in, first out. Okay, whichever the last element has been inserted, that will be the first element to be popped out or removed. It follows the basic properties. IsFull is a function that is used to check whether the stack is empty or not. If it is already full, you cannot input the new data into it. So it is necessary to check before entering whether the stack is full or empty. Is empty. If suppose you are not at all having any elements inside the stack, you cannot perform any of the operations like finding which is the topmost element. Okay, what is the next element to be popped out? So you cannot do any of the operations. That is the reason you need to find what is the emptiness of the stack. Is the stack empty or full? These two are the prior conditions that will be checking for performing the various operations. Push is the function used for entering the elements into the stack. This X represents the element that is to be inserted into the stack. Pop is the function used for deleting or removing the element from the stack. Peek is nothing but the topmost element. What is the element residing at the topmost level? And size is the function that is used to know what is the amount of elements present inside the stack. What is the current size of the stack? So stack data structures can be implemented in two different types or two different ways. One is the array, the other one is the linked list. So stack is basically implemented in array or in the linked list. Let us see one by one. Stack, array representation of the stack. So firstly, let us see what is the array representation of the stack. In this, a stack may be represented in a computer in various forms, like in the means of one-dimensional array. Okay. So the top of the variable which points to the topmost element is the top of the stack. In the previous slide, you have seen what is meant by the peak of the stack or the top of the stack. So both means the topmost element of the stack is nothing but the peak of the stack. Similarly, the next entered element will be the next top and so on. So what you have to remember here is last element inserted into the stack will be the first element to be popped out, and that will be the topmost element. Okay, and so on it will be carrying out. So each time a new element is being inserted, the value of the or the size of the stack will be incremented to +1. So how the stack will increase or grow, the top how it is growing, likewise the element will be added to it. Likewise, if we are deleting any element from the stack, so it will be decrementing the size of the stack by 1. So top is equal to top minus 1 become the size of the stack each time after deletion of one element from it. Therefore, the maximum size, a variable maximum size which gives the maximum number of elements that can be held into the stack. Finally, what we can conclude is we will be able to find top is equal to max size minus 1. Means maximum size, whatever the limit of the stack we have taken or the size of the array, along with that we will be maintaining the topmost element. So you can see here, whatever the conditions we have seen prior, if the stack is empty or not, we will be checking with the condition as top is equal to -1. If top is returning you the value as -1, that represents that stack is empty. Similarly, if you see here, we are holding one of the three elements into the stack. First element, second element, third. So whichever the last element is there, that will be the topmost element into the stack. So our current top element is 30. So you can see whatever I have told you, the stack is growing in the form of growing stage. If you look into the algorithm for insertion of the elements into the stack, how we will be doing? We will be checking first top is equal to -1. If top is -1, that represents that stack is empty. If the stack is empty, then only you are able to enter the new elements into the stack. If it is full, you cannot enter any element, right? So next we will be incrementing the pointer of the stack by +1 as the stack is growing its size. And after the insertion of the element, the topmost element will become the peak element of the stack, and finally we return. This is for insertion. This algorithm is completely for insertion of the elements into the stack. Now, second algorithm, it shows us the steps how to delete. If at all we are deleting the elements from the stack, what is the process? So for that, we will be checking whether the stack is empty or not. If the stack is empty, you cannot delete any of the element, right? So we will be first checking both while insertion and deletion. We will be checking, during the insertion we check whether the stack is full, and during the deletion we'll check whether the stack is empty. So both conditions must be checked before we apply any of the operations. Next, we will be retrieving which is the topmost element, and we will remove that element if at all that has to be popped out. And finally, we will decrease the size of the stack to -1 to show that the stack has diminished or decremented by -1. And finally, we will return the size of it. So you see here, this is an empty stack. Nothing is available. It's already empty. So before insertion, we will be checking whether the stack is empty or full. If it is full, we cannot enter. If it is empty, then only we can enter. So we are pushing now new element into it. Okay. Next, we are entering the next element into the stack, pushing the new element 2. Then we are adding one more element 3. Now, our stack limit is that much only. We cannot add more elements into it. So, the next step is to popping out. Popping is nothing but removal or deletion of the elements. So, in this step, we are deleting the elements of the stack.